Hello and greetings from the UK. I'm Marie. And this is Brianna. While studying abroad, we traveled around the United Kingdom. Here are some of our adventures.
Hello. Evening adventure.
I don't actually think in Carthage you're not allowed inside anywhere, but it's
Tinturn Abbey was founded in 1131 and fell into ruins after the dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century. But its remains have been celebrated in poetry and painting from the 18th century onwards. It is for this reason that my Romantic Era Literature class took a trip to the Abbey, for it is here where Wordsworth composed his famous poem, Lines Composed a Few Miles Above Tinturn Abbey. We sat in a circle on the grass outside the Abbey and read the poem aloud to each other a few lines at a time. Our professor was terribly worried about seeming pretentious, but we assured him that if anyone in the world had the right to be pretentious about Wordsworth, it was him, a professor of Romantic Era Literature at Oxford. The poem begins. 5 years have passed, 5 summers with the length of 5 long winters, and again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs with a soft inland murmur. Once again do I behold the steep and lofty cliffs that on a wild secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion, and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. The day is to come when I again repose here under the dark sycamore, and view these plots of cottage ground, these orchard tufts, which at this season, with their unripe fruits, are clad in one green hue, and lose themselves amid the groves and copses. I soon found myself going back to Wales for my medieval history class excursion to visit the castles Edward I built while he was conquering Wales. Flint Castle was one of the first constructed, as its construction was started in 1277. It stands by the sea at the eastern doorway into northern Wales, which gave Edward I control along the coast. As you can see, not much of it still stands today. The second castle we visited was Rhuddlan. Much of the work on Rhuddlan Castle also began in 1277 and was overseen by the master mason James of St. George. This castle was built alongside Flint as King Edward I of England was consolidating his conquest of Wales. It was temporarily his residence, and his daughter Elizabeth is presumed to have been born here. This castle also has a unique diamond layout, as the gatehouses are positioned at the corners of the square baileys. After visiting these two castles, we went to the place that we were staying for the night, which was the Castle Hotel in Conway, where Queen Victoria had lunch with her mother after visiting the castle. Before dinner at the Castle Hotel, so I got to dine somewhere that like Queen Victoria dined, and I think that's just amazing because I love young Queen Victoria. Anyway, before dinner, we went for a walk along the medieval walls of the town, which was also just amazing. Amazing. Conway was definitely my favorite of the castles we visited. Even though it wasn't necessarily the largest, there was just something really special about it. And it might have been the mountains or the view and the water and just the relationship with the castle and the town, but I found it to be just really special. It was constructed in 1283 as part of a wider project to create a walled town of Conway. UNESCO considers this site to be one of the finest examples of late 13th and early 14th century military architecture in Europe. And it's also classified as a World Heritage Site, as many of the castles that you're going to see in this video are. The rectangular castle is built from large and imported stones and occupy a coastal ridge overlooking an important crossing point in the River Conway. Balmores. This one has a moat, and when you think of a castle, I mean, at least me, being a little American who doesn't get to see castles, like, ever, I always think of castles as having a moat, and this one had a moat, and it made me very, very happy. It was constructed in 1295, at least that's when construction began, and it was part of Edward's I campaign to conquer northern Wales after 1282. The fortification is built of local stone, with a moated outer ward guarded by 12 towers and 2 gatehouses, so the castles are getting progressively larger as we go along. Now here we have the final and by far largest and most impressive castle in terms of size, and that is Carnarvon, which was constructed in 1283. And it's the largest and grandest of Edward's castles, as you can see. So they had a giant chess set in the Eagle Tower, and us being Americans and only able to relate English things to Harry Potter, automatically decided that this was wizard chest. The Eagle Tower, with the 3 great turrets and the 18 feet thick walls, is the crowning glory of Carnarvon Castle, and it was here that the most illustrious resident of the palace would sleep in lofty splendor. Of course, that is the tower we all went to first when we went into this castle. On April 25th, 1284, Eleanor gave birth to not just a son, Edward of Carnarvon, but to a new royal dynasty. Since 1911, this is the site where the Princes of Wales or Princesses of Wales have been crowned. The last investiture that took place here was when Prince Charles was crowned Prince of Wales.